I'm also recording this video on the 17th of October. I'm going to move from flags and inside day down to oversold stocks. Now there are two different versions here. I originally put this one together for Gil Morales's scans, looking for some oversold stocks. So it uses the bingo, which is the oversold indicator, and a 5 and or 10-day pocket pivot. And if I click on this and then look at a chart, and I'm using chart number 1 because it has the oversold indicator. If I click on Kronos Group, you can see that the gray line is here, and I'm looking for a pocket pivot. Now this happens to have two pocket pivots. You can see that it gapped open today, but it's certainly not holding that gap. But here is the oversold indicator, and within a 10-day window, there has to be a pocket pivot. Clearly downtrends on this stock. No doubt that it's oversold. You can see the 3 did cross above the 6. The histogram came, but this is an ugly candle right here. I'm going to have to see how this ends the day. This is the end-of-day version. This is Gentex Corporation. Now you can see that here was the oversold area. The pocket pivots came in within 10 days. This stock is moving up nicely, and this stock is in a uptrend. So it came off a short-term oversold situation, came down and hit the 100-day moving average. The 3 crossed above the 6 here, and then the pocket pivots. This would have appeared on this day because that is the first day of the pocket pivot, which corresponds with an effort to rise. Okay, let's go to the intraday. You can see that the Ericsson ADR is leading based upon my effort versus result combo rank. And here is the oversold, and it started generating the pocket pivots here. Volume point of control went positive. This went positive back here, so it's moved up quite a ways since the first signals started appearing, and this would have been the first signal right here based upon the pocket pivots. Let's do one more and then I'll move on to the next one. This is MNK. Here's your oversold level. This is a cheap stock. Let me find something a little better. Well, this is an inexpensive stock. Here's your oversold. All this is oversold here. Here's your pocket pivot, which would have been a buy right there, and it's starting to move up from there. You have to be aware of the resistance to the left on all of this, but if you're looking for some short-term and possibly a longer-term turnaround, we have no idea, of course. These are the signals right here. Volume point of control, and the pocket pivot is the primary signal. So you have to have a pocket pivot within 10 days after this gray area, and this is definitely an oversold stock. Okay, after I did that, I decided to do the same thing, except rather than using pocket pivots, use or look for bullish VPA flags. So let's look at the first one, Houghton Mifflin. Here is the coming off the oversold level. Here's your first bullish VPA flags here. It dipped down, didn't quite take out the low of that day, and here is your next VPA flag right here. Get this out of the way so I can see the weekly chart. This stock has been hit really hard. You can see the monthly, what a disaster this is, and the weekly, it's starting to show some accumulation here, and definitely in the daily. But These strategies are for bottom fishers, no question about it. Sometimes you hit them, sometimes you don't. Let's look at Carol's Restaurant Group. Very weak on the monthly, weak on the weekly. Here's your oversold level. Here are the VPA flags and the pocket pivots showing that there is some interest in this stock in the short term at least. I'm going to go to the intraday version of this and see what's moving today. I'm not familiar with this stock. It's a biotech. This entire green area here, or gray area, I'm sorry, is the oversold level. And you can see a bunch of VPA flags here indicating that there is accumulation. You can see why I call these oversold stocks. It's best if you can find them oversold in the short term with stronger or strong monthly and weekly charts rather than looking for stocks that are just totally oversold in all three time periods. Here's the oversold level. Here's the VPA flags. Stopping volume on this. This is a test, and this is a confirmation of this test starting to move up. See if I can find, here's a name out of the past, Jazz Pharma. I haven't looked at this in a couple of years. And there's a reason for that. It has fallen out of favor. Monthly is just a very choppy chart, as is the weekly, coming off the oversold level. And here are your VPA flags, and it got down to a low of about 117 today. It is trading at 121.91. So there are some interests that think this is going higher. The 3 is crossing the 6. You can see that right here, both here, and the volume point of control turned positive down here. Let's do one more. How about NetScout? I try to look over here first at the monthly to see how bad it is, and then the weekly. Extremely loose charts on both of these. Here's your oversold level, but here are your VPA flags, and also the pocket pivot is appearing. Now we still have a negative VPOC here, but there is definitely some signs of accumulation. Now, if down here in the scorecard view, the VPA signals are all right here. There has to be a VPA flag on this day on the daily chart, and you can see by looking down here what these VPA flags are. Now here's Alamos Gold. There's a test for supply, which would have been yesterday, coming off an oversold level, and here's a confirmation of that test of supply. I'm sorry, yes, a low volume test and a confirmation that it's confirming this low volume test. Now, I rarely use these views. I'm usually trying to trade higher relative strength stocks that are going in the right direction. But for people that want to try to catch some lows on these stocks, these two screens work quite well. Like I said earlier, it's best to find stocks that have decent monthly and weekly charts and are coming off of a short-term oversold situation. Those may work out a little bit better for you. This is a very couple of months. It's been weak. You can see the black candles. The weekly chart is pretty weak too, but there is some panic selling here. It looks like effort to fall, and then the stronger hands are stepping in on this stock. So that's it for the oversold stocks, and the next video I'm going to move down into fractals.